When they ask, what do not answer that question. Answer the question they didn't ask, which is, what problem do you solve and for whom? If you can define and explain somebody's problem to themselves better than they can, they automatically assume you have the solution. I am better, I am good at this. No, we don't see that, we don't care. Everybody's saying that. But if you say you're different somehow, it works. Each one of those steps, attention, connection, conversion, connects to one of these keywords. You want to be unignorable, memorable, and referable. I call it the Italian gangster methodology. Bada bim, bada boom.
This is the Relentless Pursuit of Winning podcast, where we are here to educate, equip, and inspire people to build extraordinary companies. We're so glad you're here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can get updates every time we drop a new episode. Now let's get it started. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Relentless Pursuit of Winning podcast. My name is Rick Meekus. I'm your host today. And in our studio, we have Dr. Kayvon K. How are you, sir?
I am having a great day. I'm jazzed with the keywords, the relentless pursuit. That gets me going.
Hey, that's what gets me going every day, too. That's awesome. That's awesome. We're going to be talking about entrepreneurship. We're going to talk about business development, and we're going to talk about business in general. So this is going to be a really cool episode. Now, folks, if you haven't done already, I would be so grateful if you would like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can get updates every time we drop a new episode. Now, without further ado, let's get to it. So, Dr. Kayvon, you've had a colorful history. We want to hear about it. We want to hear where you came from, why you do what you do.
Yes. Okay. That's a big question.
Yeah.
There have been so many things. After high school, I went to medical school and studied medicine and became a medical doctor, got my MD. But towards the end of it, I realized I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. It wasn't for me. Empathy was too strong in me. So the person who started wasn't the same person who finished it. I had that clarity that, hey, this work is making me miserable. I shouldn't be doing this. With clarity comes courage, I guess. And I said, okay, that's it. I'm going to finish this, get the degree, and I'm going to close that chapter. Yeah. And, obviously it's not an easy decision, but the clarity was there the whole time, which was really helpful. And I am also very lucky because between graduation and about a year or so after that, there was our move to Vancouver, Canada, where I live now, back in 98. New city, new language, new country, new opportunities, and let's reset, start from fresh. And I told you this was back in 98. And at the time, internet and computers was a new thing and a big thing. I was already good with computers. Even in medical school, I had 7 people working for me. We were doing computer jobs, data entry, and that sort of thing. I thought I'll follow with that. So I started to teach myself web design and then HTML programming, then JavaScript and PHP and C#. And I was building e-commerce websites. And I was an internet programmer, web developer. Excellent. I really enjoyed that work. Got good at it, and I had more projects. Then I had my freelance thing became my full-time thing. Then I had more projects, and I had to ask for help. And one day I found myself signing paychecks. This is the second moment of clarity that, I have a business now. I don't know anything about business. I knew that about myself. So I either have to bring that person or become that person. I love learning. So I started to look into what's entrepreneurship, what's business, what's growth, and how do I manage this? I started to study that, talk to coaches and mentors and read books. The company grew up to 12 employees, lots of small business clients as large as Nokia. And we did that for a bunch of years. And then a new pattern started to show up and clients were asking for things that we were not offering. And they were asking for, these are the early days of landing pages and opt-in pages and that sort of thing. They were connecting them to the CRM and running a business online. So the company morphed into implementation of technology for online business. That was also going well. For a few years, we did that. And as I am learning in conversations, some helpful things come up. And clients, after a while, they kept saying that the technical work is fine, but we are getting the highest value from our strategic conversations with you. And I thought, well, I like talking. So I trimmed the technology, kept the conversations, and I have been a business growth coach and consultant full-time since 2006. Obviously learned so many lessons, made so many mistakes, ups and downs and different iterations and a bunch of certifications in between. And that's what I have been doing. In the past 2 or 3 years or so, I realized where I can be most helpful to people is what I call business development. What does that mean is getting new business, because there's so many things that we can work on and I can help other people. But I realize until this is done and out of the way, all the other things, they are either just nice or they don't matter much. So removing the obstacles to business growth. Obviously, for some of my clients who are solopreneurs, they're experts. So we're talking consultants, fractional executives, and that sort of people who rely on networking and connection building.
Yeah.
It's a different format than the consulting work that I do for small businesses. But the idea is all of that. It's so many people, they need to meet new people, a lot more new people, or lead generation. We need new leads, new leads. Yeah, it's lead generation, but so many of us are doing a decent job. The problem is keeping and converting those leads.
Let's go back a little bit in time. And I'm curious, this is you were successful in two different iterations of your companies. And one of the things you said early on is that you left the medical profession because you were too empathetic.
Yes.
I'd love to know your perspective on what made these companies work. I mean, going from,
Oh,
yourself to, just hanging out as a freelancer to, 12 employees and doing work for Nokia. I mean, that's not a small feat.
but yeah. Well, thank you for that question. So let me give you the final answer. Then how do I get there? My personal brand is I'm a simplifier. The business is called Simplify. The website is simplifyprofits.com. So everything is about simplify and simplification. But I didn't come up with that. It was the feedback that I kept getting from other people. They kept saying, "Hey, Kayvon, you just made it simple for us," or "It's now so clear," or "It's always simple and easy to get it done now." It came up over and over. Every one of us, we have a talent, we have a strength that, because we're oblivious to it because it's normal to us.
Mhm.
We it's like, doesn't everybody think like that? But when other people keep giving you that feedback, so for all of your viewers and listeners, look at that. Like, what is it that people keep saying the same thing to you, or what is the topic that they come to you for that? That's your personal brand. For mine was simplification. Also, I think the other one was adjacent to that, and I realized about it a few years later. These days, I call it speak human
GQ.
talent. Let me give you an example. Every time I talk to my accountant, she speaks accountanese,
Yes.
right?
That's what that's how they charge those fees.
So that's the curse of being an expert. We speak in complicated language that our clients, our target market, who are not where they are, they're not looking at it from our point of view. They get lost and they get overwhelmed. And when I noticed it, I really worked on it, and to speak human, speak the language of the market and meet them where they are and not overwhelm them with the whole big picture that every expert sees. So what made it work is stop talking after a certain. So that whole thing was from these moments of clarity, from the feedback from the people around me. They told me this is the greatest value they get.
That
Did that
helps.
answer your question?
It does. It does. It
Yeah.
does. I love that. I love that. One of my favorite questions to ask is what does entrepreneurship mean to you? I mean, you came in and you were kind of like, sideswiped by it, so to speak. So you went out, you did the research, you learned, you grew. What does entrepreneurship mean to you as you're looking back now?
Yes, it has a big element of solving a problem, as in leaving the thing better than I found it, kind of a situation. Running a small business and growing a small business without any creativity or innovation is just perfectly fine. We all need that reliability and predictability and confidence. The entrepreneurship part of it is the creativity, the invention, is doing it my way kind of a thing.
Mhm.
Or what is it that each person brings to the picture, which has to do with their personal strengths, kind of what we were talking about. Some of the work that I do with my clients is that build the business around how they are wired. So for somebody is paying attention to details. For somebody else is making sure that everything that they do is always connected to the big picture and the original goal. Staying on track is their strength. Some people, they're good with building relationship among the team or with the clients and that sort of thing. Some, we have a bunch of different ones, and identify what is our twist on it, because at the end of the day, any kind of an expert we need to hire, we want to know, so what's the difference between this expert and that expert? Because they all have the same title. It seems
Yeah.
that they are doing the same thing. Which one is the right one for me or for that situation? So I think entrepreneurship is getting things from a level that it was to a higher level with connecting the dots in a new way approach. So that's my understanding or my definition of entrepreneurship.
I really like that. A couple of things stuck out to me. One of the bigger things. And we talked, you mentioned it earlier, was developing that personal brand. Because we go into a networking room, and like out of 30 people, 20 of them are consultants, and they say the exact same
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
I help small businesses grow, or whatever it is. But there's got to be a deeper level to that in order to be able to differentiate. And how do you coach people to really talk effectively, tell a great story about who they are
Mm,
and what makes them unique to a particular audience? We're not designed to do business with everyone. We'd love to. We
yes.
love all that money, but the reality is there's a certain profile that is great for us.
Yes.
So how do you do that?
Yes. Well, first of all, I realize this cannot be ad hoc and on the spot. There needs to be a process to follow. There needs to be for lack of a better word, a script to follow. You want a story? None of us have ever been trained how to be the perfect customer for IKEA, but they have that pathway with the arrows on the floor that you have to follow. Yeah, but I only want, I don't know, plates. Yes, but you have to see the chairs, the plates, and the spoons, and the linens, and the couches. I don't, but the process just leads you through it. We all follow the path. There is no traffic. We go through the thing and we pick up what we want, and the path ends up at the cashier and we get out. Now compare that to, I don't know, Costco. Everything is going in all different directions and people are going, and sometimes they're moving stuff around, and you have to find your way. So that's a two different model of designing the process. So every time there is a process to follow that I don't have to think, just perform, I get better results as opposed to I have to now think about where am I going and all of that.
Mhm.
In IKEA, I probably won't miss what I wanted to buy, and I don't need the shopping list because it's going to show up in front of me, and I might buy extra stuff too. But supermarket, I might go there and might miss something. So I look at it the same way. So for networking, what's really happening? What's the unorganized version of it? Well, people randomly talk to each other, and what they want to say to you is about themselves and what they do, and who to sell to, and what's the product, and what's they offer. They want to go through all of the steps of meeting you till buy from me in the same session. It's me, 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 all about themselves, and you feel overwhelmed and waterboarded with all of that information. Well, if that's the case, let's not do that. That's step one, right? So the what to do is speak human and talk about them. And the process is I coach my clients when they ask, hey, what do you do? They're asking, what do you do? But do not answer that question.
Mhm.
Answer the question they didn't ask. The question is, what problem do you solve and for whom?
Mhm. Mhm.
Instead of saying, I'm a business coach, I can say, I help experts simplify selling their expertise, right? It wasn't about me. It was my client, the problem they have, and my method and approach. And when I say that, people have questions. Well, who are these experts? Or how do you simplify it? Or what's the biggest challenge? Now that you asked, I go deeper. Now they're asking me questions and I'm
Yeah.
answering that instead of me giving them information. They have the control of the conversation, even though I am managing it. It's the IKEA thing. I put them in the path and they just follow the path. And I am in the path myself as opposed to, no, this is what I do and this is what I sell and these 5 groups that I help and this. Just explain a problem that you solve and the people that you solve it. And they immediately find out if they are the right target market or not, or they know who is the right person. So many times when I do that or my clients do that, they say, oh, yes, you know what? You should meet so and so. They're going to make an introduction. That's what networking is. So doing the opposite of what seems to be the thing. Speaking of the opposite, when we go to networking, so many times people, they can't wait to tell you what they want to tell you. So if that's the case, I'll let them go first.
Mhm.
I listen to them and I learn from them. And I don't go first because if I do, the whole time that I'm talking, they're not listening.
Yeah.
They're thinking about what they want to tell me.
Yeah.
So I just let them do that, get it out of their system, get it out of the way. Then I go second and I reframe it as this is the problem I solve for this group of people. And that's a natural, more interesting human way of networking and communication. And I realize I am in the networking event. This is not a connection building conversation. This is not a sales conversation. This is a meeting new people conversation.
Yeah.
So I broke down into 3 phases.
Well,
Attention
let
conversation.
me jump in real quick.
Yes, yes, yes.
So the original question was, how do you guide people to really talk about, like, develop that story about themselves, about,
Yes.
this is what I do and this is who I serve? Because that's the difficulty, I think, that people
Yes.
face.
When they say this is the problem myself and for this group of people, for example, they can tell a story of the client or a situation or a conversation that they had. Those are points for people to connect with you. Yeah, I had that too. Let's give you an example. I used to sell my services as a productivity coach, right? So the never ending to do list is a problem we all have. So I say, I help people, for the lack of a better word, take back their control of their time
Yeah.
for solo entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Well, let me tell you, I had this client that had over 100,000 unread email in his inbox.
100,000?
1,000 unread email in his inbox. Right? Accumulation of a few years. And not all of them are relevant to him directly. Not all of them relevant now.
Yeah.
And so there must be filters and sorting systems. So there is a 3-step process that we walked through, and I asked him to do it. And while we were on the screen sharing, and it took 20, 25 minutes or so. By the end of that 25 minutes, he had about 19 emails in his inbox.
Wow.
Okay. 19 emails there you go. Oh, wow moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then he could address them and finish them in the next half an hour or so. So that 3-step process, I taught him and he follows it every day to stay at inbox 0.
Mm-hmm.
So like that. Does that help?
Well, I was thinking, so I would say when I guess the first, X number of years of my company, I would
Yes.
explain to people that I'm an operations and strategy consultant. What I do is I help with companies streamline their operations and figure out how to get to that next phase in the future. And I felt like I could never craft a story that would make people go, aha, I need this, or aha, I know someone else that needs this.
Yes.
It's like, how do we answer this question, not just in a way that is descriptive and human, but is really meaningful and sticky and makes people go, you know what? Yeah, you need to talk to Rick about this. You
Yes,
know what I mean?
yes, I do. You just told me what you do. Reframe it as in what problem do you solve? You're talking about operations and streamlining. These are the things that you do.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me what problem do you solve?
I mean, I see companies getting stuck in growth, and it's because of, disorganization. They don't have the systems and processes in place. And it was like I felt like had to get technical in some areas in order to explain what I do. It's like, hey, I make companies run better. It's like, okay, what does that mean?
Yeah. Yes. Well, this is very a delicate and important part of the conversation that we usually forget. The feeling to that I need to get technical because I want them to understand it better. But before they understand, they need to care about it. And that part is the part that we usually skip because we know about this. We already care about this. We think everybody else is. So before they care about the solution, they need to care about the problem, right? So when you talk about feelings, they get stuck, right? And obviously, you want to say they get stuck because blank. I want you to add additional information in there, but not technical information. That problem that they have being stuck has 3 aspects to it: external, internal, and philosophical. So when they're stuck, well, this doesn't happen in the business, and the other thing doesn't happen in the business, and that other things that we didn't want, it now happens in the business. If I have too many emails in my inbox, I feel don't get the time I can't find the emails that they're relevant to me.
Mhm.
There is clutter and it becomes chaotic and something always gets lost. So I'm talking about the external stuff that they're happening. And while they're happening, internal stuff is happening. But all of that makes me feel overwhelmed. And I always feel I'm behind. So when you talk about stuck, explain it externally. What are the consequences? What are
Mhm.
the things that we want to happen and they don't? So events, what are the things that we want to happen and they don't? And what are the things that we don't want them to happen and they do happen?
Mhm.
And then you talk about that on an internal way, which makes people frustrated, which people lose their jobs and, all of that. You talk about the internal part of it. And this is the bonus part, not necessarily every time, but if you can bring it up, you can make it philosophical. And you know what? I got sick and tired of that. I thought there should be a better way. And
Yeah.
I have helped so many companies that they were stuck and they were feeling about this. And I got sick and tired of seeing them suffering. And I wanted to change that. So you can talk about it shouldn't be this way, must be a better way. Then talk about an example. Like I talked about the inbox 0 thing.
Yeah.
So I was talking to these people and there was that company, there was this project and they got stuck, obviously. And these were the signs and symptoms of it. They go, yeah, I have those in my company.
Mhm.
And this is how they made them feel. I have been there or my friend is going through that. So they're Speak human, we're now connecting. And philosophical, yeah, no. So none of the how was there. It's what's happening right now. This is the problem. External consequences and outcome, side effects of it, internal feelings and challenges and all of that. What it shouldn't be like just the ideal situation. All of this is preparing us much better for the how conversation, which
Yeah.
is not the networking meeting, is the coffee meeting that
Right.
we get in the networking meeting.
I like that. I like that. And the other piece of that you said that I thought was really, really impactful and important was the
Yes.
superpower piece of that. You know, for me, again, I'm just a consultant. I just go out and I do the thing that I do. Like you said, I mean, I think there are things that, I may not see, that other people may see about me. Does that come into this conversation or is that more of the
Yes.
coffee conversation? And if it's part
No,
of
it's
the networking conversation, how do we get into a place where we can articulate that, where we can talk about
use
that?
your superpower is exist in all three steps: the attention, the connection, and the conversion. But knowing about your superpower is the work that we have to do by ourselves.
Mm,
Like some people are thinkers, some communicators, some people are executor. They get stuff done, implementers, knowing what you have. A few weeks ago, I created this quiz on my website, Know Your Edge. I can send the link to you. You can share it with your listeners and viewers. It's a 3-minute test, 12 simple questions, and tells you what's your edge of what kind you are, and also gives you which percentage of how much of a thinker, how much of a communicator, and a bunch of recommendations as in, well, do this, more of this, less of that kind of a thing. People who have a power of being a good listener and asking good questions, if that's your superpower, do that. Put yourself in situations like that. So knowing our superpower, but at the beginning is because we're just new, you just operate from that. We don't need to talk about that. We
mm,
need people to feel it.
mm,
We talk about it more specifically when it's the discovery conversations, the connection building conversation, eventually sales and proposal conversations, because the first thing that they care about is their problem.
yeah.
After we get over that, the next thing they care about is the solution. And after that, they only care about the provider. They care about you. We don't care about from us at the beginning. So we bring ourselves at the stage that it is because they have three questions in their mind. Why should I care? What's in it for me?
Hmm.
Why should I trust you?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
even though I'm talking from my strength, but everything is around why should you care? Why is this important? Why is this a problem? Talking about the problem, defining the problem really, really well. If you can define and explain somebody's problem to themselves better than they can, they
Hmm.
automatically assume you have the solution.
Yeah.
So when they care about, okay, this is a problem, now what? Well, there are different approaches and there are, 7 approaches. Let's say, I don't know, something that we're all familiar. We have seen the ads and the weight loss. So when we established weight loss is a problem, now get to the how, now, what part of it.
Yeah.
So there could be a diet, could be exercise, could be pills, could be Ozempic. There are multiple approaches. And I'm going to recommend one of them. And this one, which is our approach, or maybe some other, I am going to recommend the second one, which is something not that I do, but I think for your situation is better.
Hmm.
And I know the right person, you make the connection. But however, you get to that too. Now you're selling them on one of the approaches, one of the ways, one of the solutions. And when they like that, well, obviously you and a bunch of other people sell that solution. You want to now sell yourself.
Mm,
Why should I
mm,
trust you?
mm,
What's your solution? So why should I care? What's in it for me? Why should I trust you?
mhm,
In that order and not going to the next question until the first one is satisfied.
mhm, mhm. I'm curious. I'm wondering. We talked about like the human conversation. I'm
Yes.
wondering how important and when is it important to be passionate about that particular solution for whomever it is that you serve, and to really kind of articulate that to whomever you're speaking with.
Um,
Is that important at all?
it is important. Here's the thing. I do not go anywhere that I'm not invited or I'm not welcome, right? People might invite me as out of, I don't know, being polite. But if I'm not welcome, why would I go there?
Yeah.
So I would not be passionate about anything unless the other person wants to receive it, wants to
Yeah.
hear my passion, right?
Okay.
What's the point of spending that fabulous, glorious energy somewhere that is going to land on deaf ears? They are not interested. I'm okay with that. It's what I have is not for everyone. So I'm going to spend it on the ones that they want it. So no, you can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped.
Yeah,
right? So
absolutely.
yes. So when it comes to injecting my own passion, which is, different parts of the conversation, I want to make sure that they want it. And you know that by saying something and stop talking and see what the answer is. If they ask more questions, more clarified questions, they're interested. And they say, oh, nice. Okay. Well, nice to meet you. They walk away. Well, that wasn't for them.
Right.
So a good method for that is say something and then stop talking and
Okay.
just be comfortable and skillful in the awkward silence. That's probably our biggest, most impactful tool in the whole conversation. Staying quiet.
When we network and we connect people and we have these relationships, how do we keep track of these connections that we're making effectively? Because there are people that, are going to be connectors for us. There are people that we're connecting to other people. There are people that, you know, may not be worth our time. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? How do we keep track of these relationships?
Okay. So I'm going to share a lesson from medical school with you. When there's a patient in front of me and in front of the doctor, they're going to look for two things, two category of things. We call them signs and symptoms. What's the difference? Symptoms are the things that the patient says. I have headache. I feel tired. I have nausea. They come. Signs are the things that I find out in my examination. I take their blood pressure. Oh, their blood pressure is high. Nobody's going to come say, hey, my blood pressure is high. I find that in my examination. Or I send the blood to the lab and it comes back with the results. So signs are the things that I find out as the expert through my diagnosis process, discovery call, and all of that. Symptoms are the things that they say, right?
How do we
How
how
do
do we
I?
keep track of all the relationships
Yes,
and connections that we're making?
exactly. Okay. So remember when I said, what problem do you solve and for whom? That is the piece of information that I keep track of because when I talk to other people, they're talking about their signs and symptoms with me. And signs and symptoms are connected to a problem, which is the diagnosis. So I listen. So when they say they're stuck in their business and they're having this kind of a challenges and those obstacles, these are things that Rick said.
Hmm.
Signs and symptoms when he was telling me about what problem he solves and for whom,
Hmm.
and that makes the connection, right? Because they may talk about some being stuck, but other signs and symptoms, and that could be, I don't know, a HR issue, and somebody else
Hmm.
talked
Hmm.
about that. So my way of remembering and connecting people is again around same thing. So it's not only networking for us, but also recommending them to other people. So what problem do each one of us solves and for whom? And asking questions till tells me about the signs and symptoms.
Hmm.
So when I hear that, I remember this. When this, then that. When this, then that. So that's the way that it has been working for me.
Hmm.
If we, I don't know, create a spreadsheet around that as well, that works better. When somebody says something, I can say, oh, so this is a time saving challenge. So I search for time and these people and the way that they target that person, that kind of a thing. So it's going to be around uh, the problems they solve as opposed to, so instead of assigning experts to them, I assign experts to problems.
Mm, mm, mm. So you
Yes.
kind of go by memory then, if I understand.
Yeah, memory or the notes that I have from meetings, because it's been a speak human conversation. We remember conversations.
Yeah.
I never remember anybody's pitch, but I remember conversation. And then
Right.
if they tell me about the problem they solve and who they solve it for, and here's an example, I work for this company and that, I will remember that for I don't know a long time after that.
Mm. As
Yeah.
a networker, one of my friends always says, she always cracks me up when she says it. It's like,
Yes.
dude, you're not memorable. How do you
Yeah.
how do you make sure that you're memorable to the people that you're speaking with?
Yes, well, that's one of my words too. It's the middle one. There's one word before and one word after that. It's the same. Each one of those steps, attention, connection, conversion, connects to one of these keywords. You want to be unignorable, memorable, and referable.
Hmm.
Okay. And one leads to another. If you want to be memorable, first we have to be unignorable and work with what we got. Like I myself, I am 6'4". I am heavy. I have white hair. My hair started to turn gray since 14. I'm easy to spot in the audience. That's what I have, and I work with that. I show up and I stand up. But some people, they have, I don't know, red shoes,
Hmm.
or the way that they introduce themselves is something else, or whatever. What works for you to not to be like to, because it's the art of standing out.
Hmm.
What do I say? How do I say it? For example, my name is Kayvon. It's not a common name in North America.
Mhm.
It might sound strange to a lot of people. At the same time, it sounds like Kevin. Okay, so what do I do? Because that being a 6'4" guy, it also creates a lot of feeling of intimidation with other people. And I have researched this. I have sent a survey to 100 people that I knew, and I asked them, what was your first impression of me? And across the board, everybody said, oh, the first time we say you, intimidation. We don't want to deal with this
You're
guy.
big.
So I had to do something about my user interface. That being unignorable is something else. So for my name, when I'm in a networking event and I need to introduce myself, I have a script. I'm going to repeat it here as if I'm in a networking event. Hi, everyone. My name is Kayvon, but all of my friends call me K or Big K or Special K.
Special K.
So see, you got the reaction from that.
Takes the edge off right away. I love
Made
it.
you smile. So that intimidation comes down and, oh, he's a fun guy and all of that. So it's a script, it's a technique, gimmick, whatever we want to call it, that is make it unignorable. People meet me years later and I don't even remember them and say, oh, Special K. I know either they have seen me in a networking event, we have talked. I don't remember them, but they do remember me. I did that too. And if I meet someone whose name is Kevin, I say, hey, I'm your Persian version.
The Persian version. Oh my gosh, you're a winner. I love it.
So come up with this sort of thing. People love human speak and being goofy and, not to be, I'm so and so and so and so that. Well, who wants that? So unignorable is the first step. Being memorable is making it easy for them to talk about you. If I give them this long speech, they're lost in that. And so being memorable has a lot to do with clarity. I call it the Italian gangster methodology. They go bada bim, bada boom, right? So I do this for that kind of people and stop talking. Let it sink, let it go to the memory, let it find its place. They might ask you questions because they are now setting it in their memory. That's memorable. Clarity. Instead of blah, 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 I do this and blah, 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 blah. When they ask, well, how do you do that? And this and that. These are all the elements that is helping you to be referable. If you are not memorable, if it's not clear, if it's not brief enough, if it's not simple enough,
Yeah.
it's hard for them to refer you. You know, yeah, I know this guy, he's kind of helping with productivity and maybe processes, maybe it's automation, but bada bim, bada boom. That makes it easier because everybody loves to help somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whenever somebody has a problem, they love to have somebody to refer,
Right.
recommend. Well, give them that gift of being unignorable, memorable, and referable so they can do that to other people and be helpful to other people.
Mm.
Those are the ways that I look at it. And it's an easy way. I ask myself, Kayvon, are you memorable? Are you referable? Are you clear enough? And I do some journaling and ask myself, so what is referable? It has like this, it has like that. Think about it. And guess what? These days we have this thing called AI. We can sit in front of ChatGPT or Claude and talk about that. Well, help me be memorable. Ask me about me. How can I introduce myself that is referable? And it's going to scrutinize everything that we say and do, and you end up with a script. I am your Persian version or whatever.
I've been skeptical about networking in general. When I first moved to, I did the new city reset that you did, back
Yes,
in
yes.
2004. Came to Atlanta. I did a lot of networking, talked to a lot of people. And so, it kind of left a sour taste in my mouth because it didn't really work. I was making a lot of referrals and recommendations. And, I was a person that, people knew. I was memorable because like you, I'm 6'4",
Mm.
and I stand out in the crowd. And I happen to be a really, really
Yes,
nice
yes.
guy.
Of course, yes, yes, you are.
But I know that there's value in networking. So when you're talking to someone like me that says, hey, you know what? I have a problem with networking. I find it, I find more sharks than people that actually want to have conversations. People try to pitch me their stuff, et cetera, et cetera. What do you say to me to say, hey, you know what, Rick, I need you to look at this differently. There's more happening beneath the water than what you're saying.
Yeah.
Convince me, sell me.
Yes. Rick, your answer was in your question.
Don't do that to me. That's cheating. You can't use the cheat code.
No, it's not a cheat code. It's right there. It's how can I do this differently? It's being different. So many of us, we want to hide in the safety of sameness. I am a consultant too. I am a Me Too business, right? I'm a coach too. I'm a copywriter too. I am that, which is fine. People need that familiarity as far as category, but what makes you different? So, we have seen pitches like, this is so and so, like what Uber did to transportation, we're doing it to that. They give you something familiar, but how's that different? So that two-step thing, I am at this, but
Sure.
twist, right? People are interested and remember different, not better.
Yes. Agreed. Agreed.
Everybody just wants to say, I am better, I am good at this. No, we don't see that. We don't care. Everybody's saying that. But if you say you're different somehow, it works.
Well, I'm not
They
really thinking
say,
about me, like what I'm offering. I'm thinking in terms of like, other people in the room. So if you have
yes,
a room full of 20 people, regardless of what they do, they're coming to the meeting with the goal of selling their stuff, essentially.
yes,
You know what I'm saying? And so, when I go into the room, I'm I may be genuinely curious, just want to understand, just want to meet other people, but not everybody has that. That's not necessarily their agenda.
yes,
Like, this is what I do. I'm going to
yeah,
introduce you to two people. You need to introduce me to, five people. It becomes more of a, a challenge than an actual human to human connection. And, let's develop relationship, et cetera from there. And so that's left a really sour taste in my mouth. And so
yes.
that's,
It's
that's
that,
where I'm coming from.
it's because at the end of it, we do all of that effort and not much is to show for
Uh-huh.
because not much is remembered because
Right.
everybody's talking about why they are good, why they are better.
Right.
That's the different thing because, they say different is better than better. Okay. So if I'm going to a room, I live in Vancouver, right? We have a lot of realtors here. Every meeting I go, there are, 70 realtors. Well, but if one of them tells me they're different somehow, I will remember that. If they say, I'm a realtor, but I only work with buyers.
Mhm.
Well, there's a difference. I remember that as opposed to I work with buyers and sellers and condos and, houses. If somebody says, I am a realtor, but only in that part of town. There are multiple ways to be different. It's about something to think about something that makes us different, makes us memorable, and it's human. We're talking about realtors. I'm gonna pitch myself as realtor to you twice, and you tell me which one is more impactful, more memorable. I say, "Hi, I'm a realtor, and I've been doing this for 15 years. I can help with buying, selling your house or apartment or condo, and if you know anyone, I would appreciate the connection." Or I can say, "I'm a realtor who I specialize in to help families find and buy homes that they thought they couldn't afford."
I definitely like number two. Definitely like number
Yeah,
two.
which is something the first person would do as well, but they didn't say it.
Right. Right.
It takes a bit of a work to find out that phrase, that differentiation thing for us, which is the work that, many, so many of, that's why I have a job, right? Yeah. So that it takes a little bit of work to find that differentiation, probably multiple version, keep practicing them until they come out smoothly, test them with a bunch of people and see which one sticks and commit to that as opposed to opening it at I'm a realtor that sells everything to everyone everywhere. None of that is memorable or stands out.
Yeah.
So now you said you go to networking and come out with, sour taste in your mouth or bitter taste. Well, other people haven't done this work. I can help them. So I say, you're a realtor. Tell me what makes you different. Oh, you're a consultant. What's different about you? Or what's your superpower? A few of these questions to a different format, which gets them to talk about themselves or at least think about it and come up with something. It's facilitating that for them.
Yeah.
It's serving them and also serving me because I want them to be memorable in my head. And sometimes they tell me I am different because I have been doing this for 30 years. I'm different because I have done this in 5 different cities. I'm different because what makes you different? So my suggestion to everyone, if you want to make networking more exciting and better experience for yourself, start asking people that, hey, so you're this, you solve this problem. What makes you different?
Yeah.
Why people hire you when they choose you? Why didn't they choose other people? Why did they choose you? And people love to talk about themselves.
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
But I mean, they're the biggest they're the biggest fans. I think it's important to be able to have those stories. Especially you getting people to understand kind of what that superpower is. I always struggle. Well, I guess when I talk to people about networking, I always talk in terms of what's your goal and what do you expect your return on investment to be. And it needs so you're going into a room, you're going to meet X number of people, you're going to make connections, et cetera, et cetera. I think that there's got to be and you probably have like, some sort of blueprint that you need to follow in order to determine how effective you're being, in addition to what you expect to receive as a result of or gain as a result
Yes.
of that networking group. How do you coach people or recommend people?
Yes. Well, if they're seriously doing networking, because there is, I don't know, hobby wise or haphazard doing way of doing it, which is fine. So many of us do it like that. But if they really, really want to dig deeper with that, when you said it needs to be, it's a return on investment, two questions come up. Well, in what sort of a timeline? Do you expect to get result out of it in the first month of networking or in the first year of networking? Or are you ready to do this for 5 years and be fine with the gradual? First is going to be a loss, then break even, or yeah. So
Yeah,
timeline. Let's
yeah.
talk about timeline. The other way is, okay, what are we measuring? And yeah, dollar amount is the easiest one, but it's better for later stages, not networking. I would measure it with, well, how many coffee meetings I got out of it.
Mm, mm,
Okay. And then from the coffee meetings, how many second coffee meetings did I get out of it?
mhm,
From my coffee meetings, how many sales slash proposal conversations did I get out of it?
mm,
And it becomes your funnels, and it's a human based funnel. And you have a good chunk, more control over that, because there are things for all of them. There are things that are under my control, they have to do with my activity and external factors,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
So like sales has a lot to do with which quarter are we in? Or are we and near to the end of the quarter or the beginning of quarter? What kind of businesses? What kind of an economics of the industry are we looking at? Those are not out of my control.
Mhm,
But being interesting, being memorable, and asking for that coffee meeting is in my control.
mhm,
And some people
mhm.
say yes, and some people say no. And how do I measure a good coffee meeting? I told you my goal in networking is not selling, obviously, but so many
Right.
people have that, is to get a coffee meeting, to
Yeah,
get a second meeting,
yeah.
right? People want to say, hey, do you want to continue this conversation? Because we're still in the first part of it. So how many second meetings I got, how many third meeting I got, how many sales meeting I got. So I would say it's a high control, easy to measure, rewarding way of doing networking in a serious way by measuring a progress over time. You don't have to come up with goals to meet. I would say instead of, I want to have 20 coffee meetings every month or so, I encourage people to think about as far as growth and progress rather
Mhm.
than hitting a certain number. If you set up a goal for yourself that every month I want to have at least one more coffee meeting than a month before.
Yeah,
Okay. So all you want is more than before,
yeah.
better than before, higher quality than before. And we have all of those coffee meetings and second meetings and sales meetings. So you pick how many of those that you want and how many more do you want. Obviously, there is a limit. It's a time and a space and a human limit to it. Being reasonable. So I like uh, the goal to be progress, the
Mhm,
goal to be um, among time, the goal to be growth more than
mhm.
before rather than hitting a certain number. So
Okay.
that's how I do it.
Progressive overload. I like it.
Yes, yes, yes.
So last
Progression is
question
better
for
for
you.
yes,
So the name of the show, as you mentioned so eloquently at the beginning, is the Relentless Pursuit of Winning podcast. Now,
yes.
I always ask my guests, we all can define winning in whatever fashion we want to. The difficulty that we face as humans, as entrepreneurs, is that relentless pursuit. It's always easy to say, hey, I'm jumping off this bus. What would you recommend to someone, or what do you recommend to our audience, just in terms of how do you maintain that relentless pursuit towards whatever that goal is that you
9 to 1 should be the ratio of no to yes. For everything that say yes to, you should have said no to 9 other things. The biggest challenge that we have is we're distracted, we're spread too thin, and it goes all over the place. Sticking with one thing, having idea monogamy, and just do that one thing over time is going to, for a lack of a better word, bring another version of us, bring out another version of us. Let me give you an example. Have you noticed how much productive you are before the deadline?
have?
Have you noticed how we are getting stuff done the day before going on vacation,
Mhm.
right? So if I could do all of that, if I could be that more focused, more productive every day, why don't I do it every day? Right? it's like different Kayvon shows up, different version of me shows up. It's like that, right? So if this version is not that, and that version shows up in those conditions, I cannot choose to show up however I want, but I can control the environment. I can control the conditions. That's IKEA effect. If I'm put on the path, that other version shows up, the perfect customer for IKEA, the one who is a simplifier, the one who goes to the cuts through clutter, the ones that who's focused on it, the one who comes up with new ideas. So if my mind or anybody's mind is thinking about 4 different things, what's the quality of the ideas that we come up with? But if I'm constantly thinking about one thing, we all know whenever we were focused on one thing and one thing only, commitment, the ideas that come, the commitment that we have, what do we call it? The compound effect of it, the flywheel impact of it, all of that shows up in that. So winning and committing to win, and they're all very much related. There are many wrong way of doing this, but there are only a few right way of doing that. So that commitment, that one thing, that focus, that sticking stick-with-itness, developing the skill of living with the question and not having an answer, and staying there instead of jumping to something else that is more comfortable. So yeah, that discomfort, that's what in my life has brought winning every time it.
I love it. I love it. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, Kayvon.
And thank you for that. Yes, memorable now.
Memorable, absolutely. How can our guests connect with you? What tools or options do you have?
Yes. Well, I live on LinkedIn more than any other place. So on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of that, I am at Dr. Kayvon K. So DrKayvonK. So find me anywhere. The website is simplifyprofits.com. And the program that I have, which is about networking and business development for consultants and experts and fractionals, is I'm hosting it on School. So school.com/expert. Yes.
We'll get those links.
And I'll send you that link to that quiz as well, the Know Your Edge quiz, and you can, I guess, put it in the show notes, and people can take that. It's on my website, simplifyprofits.com, and I would love to hear from them when they take the test, and just tell me what their strength is, what kind of what's their edges.
Love it. I love it. I love it. Dr. K, thank you so much for being on the show. I enjoyed our conversation. I appreciate you so much.
Me too. Yes, this was a fun one. Thank you very much.
My great pleasure. My great pleasure. And folks, thank you so much for watching or listening to another episode of the Relentless Pursuit of Winning podcast. We'll catch you next time.